been years since I've seen you.
I mean, probably like 5 or 6-ish.
Yeah,
And we
I
both
think,
look fabulous.
okay, forever young.
Love seeing you shine your light all over the world and break down barriers and just like show people it's possible to like own it, live it, manifest it,
Yes.
So thank you so much. First and foremost, for those of you guys don't know, I'm your host, Natalia Nemes, Conversations Under the Influence. We got the one and only Jess Savano. That's how you pronounce your last name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a quick blurb about your YouTube channel for those that don't know you or who aren't familiar with you.
Sure. So I am a travel vlogger. I create travel videos. It's sort of one of those things that just unfolded organically. It was a suggestion by a friend a few years ago. And I'm like, I don't know, walking around with a camera and talking to it seems a bit strange,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just tried it. I tried it around LA a couple times and I'm like, you know what, whatever.
Awkward at first.
Yeah, because people look at you and they make faces and they think maybe, oh, who does this girl think she is, but they don't understand what it's actually for.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. I sometimes catch myself because I'm always walking and talking to the camera, and usually I'm in my zone, but every now and then I feel someone watching me and it completely takes me out of it. I'm like, girlfriend, you got to get used to that, like your message is what matters,
Exactly. I've become so confident the longer that I've done it. I just don't care or even notice anymore. I'm just in it.
Yeah.
So
You're owning your power. And you recently celebrated your 100,000 followers, but then it shot up to, last I saw, like, would you say 120, 125 or 125,000?
I just checked today and it was like 128,000.
That's insane. I can't even get like 3 people to follow me anymore. It's okay. We all have our time and everything, but that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, starting from, nothing, and maybe I had like 10,000 subscribers. I'm like, oh my God, that's so many people.
Yeah.
And then like I was grateful for every part of the way. And I saw people that, had 100,000, 200,000. I'm like, I wonder if I'll ever, get there.
Yeah.
And then, I just started putting out more content and traveling and making my videos as authentic as possible. And I feel like when I really just let go of how I was looking, how I was sounding, all of these things, that people saw the authenticity of me and the channel, and it just started to grow that way.
I love
And
it. And how often do you post videos?
so I try to post at least a couple times a week, since I shoot everything myself, edit everything myself. It is, as you know,
Props to you. I had to take a break. I got really burnt out on social media and creating content and just, and it's funny, like I'm actually now learning to backlog a lot of stuff. So I'm now like backlogging a lot of podcasts and videos when I do relaunch everything, because I redid my website and had to do a lot of rebranding. Shit 101 is too offensive to advertise. So it's now NataliaNemes.com. And so I decided, I was like, okay, just allow it. But kudos to you, because anybody who doesn't create content online, I mean, one video itself, I don't know about you. I mean, I've gotten a lot better, and now I finally hired somebody to edit, and I've been training them. But like sometimes it could take anywhere between like a day or two.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
And uploading and converting all of it, and just like, everybody thinks that like all this stuff comes easily, and
no,
it's a lot of work. And what I think I really love too about what you said, and I've experienced myself, like, everybody who wants to go out and do something greater than themselves try to mimic what's been done, but at the end of the day, we are our own individuals, and what makes us unique is that. And it's funny because I did everything I was supposed to do. And I got a little traction, but then obviously like I just kept hitting walls. And the moment I started just being myself, is like being in flow, right? Being in alignment.
Yeah.
Like that's when things are like, oh, here, this is how it works. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and how
Uh,
scared were you to like go off and do this? Was it more about you decided to travel first and then just started to like film and then like do that, or was your intention the whole time to like create this like YouTube channel?
no, so the intention wasn't really about that. It was more about I want to travel and experience, the world. Maybe I'll try it and we'll see. So I had bought this like really nice, expensive vlogging camera, and I went to India just randomly by myself. Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius like that. So I just went to India, but it was my first time there, and I was just so overwhelmed by everything that was happening there. And I'm like, there's no way I can just start vlogging right now in this country. Like it was just a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And so I did like a little bit, but then I didn't make complete videos because I really wanted to just be in it. And when you are vlogging, sometimes you're not 100% there. So I said, you know what? There'll be times to do it. So, long story short, I came back to the US. I fell in love with India. I was only there for a month. And I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, I really want to go back there. Like, it was just like going to a different planet.
Mm.
Everything, everything was just so different. I was just totally thrown out of my comfort zone. I just fell in love with the culture, the people, the food. So came back. Oh, I know. Love Indian food. So I came back. I took a longer visa, and I went back, and I stayed there for like 3 months this time. I did some Bollywood work, photo shoots, and things like that. And then that's when I really started to vlog because I had more time. I didn't feel as pressured. And then I started to vlog. I started building a lot of followers in India. I mean, a country with 1.3 billion people, you know? So I grew a lot of my followers from India. Like I'm sort of famous there. I was at the airport and people were like chasing me for photos. I'm like,
I
oh
love
my God.
it. I love it.
They like put me on the news about my flight from India back to the US during coronavirus. I was
What?
on the news there. Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. But also like I get such amazing content there, and a lot of people are fascinated by India. A lot of people have fear about going to India, but they're also curious. So those people are watching my videos and they're reaching out to me and they're like, hey, I see this tall white girl walking around India by herself. I can do that. And they just book a ticket and go.
I love it. Lead by example. That's so amazing. Now, like
Yeah.
going there or coming back, did you have any struggles emotionally and mentally, like recalibrating life again?
Yeah, because I really fell in love with the Eastern type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's just totally different. And I was living like in these small, cozy little villages, like right by the ocean. And things were just very simple and just very real and connecting with the people there.
Mhm.
And I just loved that. It was just so authentic. And people would invite me into their homes just to have chai and talk. And I'm like, wow, in America, that doesn't really
You
happen.
can't even get your girlfriends to meet you for tea or happy hour. Like,
Exactly.
let me pencil you in. No, you're not cool enough. Even if you are. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And, I just really fell in love with that lifestyle. And I think when I came back to America, I felt really sad because it was something that I really loved and I really appreciated the authenticity. And I came back and people were just so guarded and
yeah.
materialistic. And there, I mean, I was living very simple. I wasn't even thinking about how I was looking, what I was wearing. I was just being. I was feeding cows every day. I was feeding stray dogs. Like I had like this pack of stray dogs in the neighborhood that I would feed every day, and it just brought so much joy to me. And I'm like, wow, it really is the simple things in life.
Yeah. Did you find that people over there were genuinely happier than people obviously like in LA?
Yeah. Also, it's a vast country, so it depends on, what region. Like big cities like Mumbai and Delhi, the hustle is real.
Yeah.
People are running around and hustling. But generally, yeah, I would say like I went to Dubai because I had to go on a visa run. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Dubai, change things up a bit. It's only 3 hours from India, and I'll come back. And so I went to Dubai, and I mean, it's a very wealthy country. So you're coming from a quote unquote poor country
Yeah.
to an extreme rich and wealthy country. And honestly, like energetically, I just felt spiritually sick
Yeah.
because I mean, I was just around, the most authentic people and just living simple and really is the simple things in life. And then I just came into like this totally different planet where everything was just over the top. There were shopping malls everywhere and people were dressed in labels. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's all that matters in life. Look at this, look at this.
Yeah, all of that, all of that. So I felt some, you know, spiritual depression. And so I honestly couldn't wait to go back to India because, and I was there in Dubai and I met people and I'm like, oh, I just came from India. And they just like make faces like, what are you doing there? And also, when I came back to America too, people do the same thing. It's kind of saddening, people's reaction when you say, I came from India, or I love India. I feel like there's a lot of racism towards Indians, and that's not really talked about in our society. And I've experienced it. I've gotten comments from people since I've been back, and it's really hurtful because I know
They're like
Indian
your
people.
family. Yeah.
They're like my family. I have many close Indian friends, and they really looked after me. There was times where I was sick, and lots going on with coronavirus when I was there, and so it was, things were kind of hurtful when people say things like that.
Yeah. Can only imagine. So talk to me a little bit about like, do you connect with your fans a lot online? Like, do you like engage with them in the comments, or is it something that you just
I try to a bit more than I used to do, but it's very time consuming. And then people, it turns into like this endless conversation type thing. And then it turns into flirting. And then it just goes from one thing to the next. And I'm like, I respond if someone writes me and takes the time and I see that it's pretty lengthy and they say, I really enjoy your work, your video did this, blah, blah, blah. I'll respond and say, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Stay safe and healthy. And then it can just keep going from there. And, so it's like, where do you draw the line,
swipe, delete, delete, delete.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have no idea. Like, I get it. I mean, I try to be nice, and then, I mean, everyone's different. I try to give everyone a benefit of the doubt, but it's like one conversation, and then that's it. Like, I'm not here all day, but that's so great. And then, I mean, do you have like a vision and plans to go back? Do you have a vision to go check out something else? Like, do you have anything, or are you just kind of going with the flow right now?
Well, I've traveled around America. We took a road trip to Sedona, my favorite place. I know you just got back from there as well.
Before I went.
Yes, just so magical. I love that place. I can't wait to go back. I just wish it was a little bit cheaper.
Have you been before?
No, it was my first time there.
Nice. Girl, go camping. Camping's cheap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Get a tent and just...
Yeah, I mean, I went and all the reservations for campgrounds were full, but they have a lot of like offsite, which is the same stuff. We actually saw way more stars. It was only maybe 3 miles out of the city. And for me too, there's something, as much as I love my bougie high-end luxury hotels, there is something very spiritually grounding to physically be on the ground in the earth and getting back to the simple things. Like I was just listening to this podcast with Jay Shetty, and I forget the guy he was interviewing, but they were talking about like the polarities and the extremes of like these high performing, whatever it is, whether it's an artist or a politician or a business person, usually have these opposite, whatever you want to call it, meditation practices, hobbies that ground you, and they're literally kind of mindless. And I think that, and it kind of dawned on me, like being in LA, like you're saying, like as an artist and as a spiritual person, I have to tap into the nature and spirit to really sometimes just keep my channels open and pure, because you come into LA and everyone are online and it's like, yeah. So I think you actually might enjoy it. I mean, it's definitely, you know, an adjustment if you haven't ever tried it often. And it's funny, I didn't camp for 30 something years, and then meltdowns and breakdowns started happening, and I'm like, I just need to go hug a tree. And I was thinking how healing it was to be by myself and know, God and the stars and all that stuff. So check it out, girlfriend.
Yes, thank you for that.
If you need to check it out. And anybody that's listening, camp in your backyard if you're too scared to go somewhere else. And I think it also too brings you back to your childlike happiness, talking about like you feeding the cows and the stray dogs. Like as we get older, I think we are so conditioned to think we need to obtain to feel fulfilled, when it's the complete opposite. You know, it's the simple things that have always been with us that have just been buried by all the bullshit that is really what brings us happiness. Like you're talking about like genuine connection, genuine conversations. I mean, so many people are online having these fake conversations trying to fill this void versus real life. Like, I mean, obviously now there's a little bit more challenges with the coronavirus, but it's like, how many people actually know their neighbors' names? How many people know what's going on? When was the last time, like, either someone baked something or had some tea or whatever it is, you know? Like, I feel like part of what's going on right now is really trying to get us back to the basics. And we've had to learn how to like the people we're partners with again, you know? Like, I've been single, so I haven't really struggled with that, but I know a lot of people, like, didn't even know their people or their kids, for that matter. So everyone's so busy, like, you know?
So true. I mean, as terrible as all of this is some sort of spiritual lesson for all of us, you know, about getting back to the basics of what is true and what is real. And that is our connections with one another and our connections with the earth and the simple things in life.
Yeah. And also too, like, it doesn't matter how much money you make or how much education, like for instance, the coronavirus showed us like we are all equal. We are all equal, but so many people get caught up with thinking that, oh, well, I'm better than you because I've got this, or oh, like the more labels you have, nothing wrong with labels. Homegirl likes some labels, but you know what I realized, especially living in LA, and I'm sure you can agree, the more labels that people put on themselves, the more insecure they are.
Oh, definitely. Of course. Of course. I have one Chanel bag and a couple little pieces that were given to me, either as gifts from friends or boyfriends. And I've had them for years. And I, you know, when I travel, I'll take my Chanel bag if I want to be bougie. And, you know, and like put on a nice little black dress and go to dinner somewhere. I have that, but I mean, like every day, no.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. But so I want to ask this because I'm sure a lot of people are very curious. How do you fund your travel? Do you make money through YouTube? Do you do the advertising, or do you have a whole other way of funding all this stuff?
That's a great question because I get asked this question a lot. Well, I am a minimalist. I live very simple. I have no debt. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. I think that's why I'm also so happy when I travel, knowing that, you know, I have no debt and I have nothing to worry about.
Let me ask you this. At one point in your life, did you have debt? And if so, how'd you get out of it?
Yes, I did. Credit card debt, of course, we all had it. We all been through that. I mean, it wasn't like insane amounts, but it just didn't feel good knowing that I had that and I owed people money. You know, it's really draining. It's really draining. So being an artist, you know, it's hard and we struggle. And so I got into real estate for a while here in LA, and I made a little money with that. I paid off debt, and I said, what else really is there to life? Oh yeah, travel. And I rented my place out on Airbnb here in LA. So I was pretty much, you know, earning really good money from that. So I had the rent paid, and then I was earning money on top of that. And when you live in Asia, the US dollar goes a long way.
Nice.
So I was living, you know, very nice in Asia. And I was making money from YouTube, but at the time, not too much, you know. But yes, I do get paid from YouTube. It varies, you know, depending on videos. Some go viral, some don't. Some months are better than the others. But is it enough to sustain myself in LA? No. Is it enough to sustain myself in India? Yeah. So it just really depends on the geographic location and budgeting. So if I'm renting my place and I'm earning like money on YouTube, and I have, you know, savings as well, then I could think about, you know, doing more travel around Asia. You know, like I went to Singapore, I went to Bali, I went to Hong Kong, I went to Malaysia. I was just like hopping around. Thailand.
Love it. And how did you decide? Were you just inspired each time? You're like, oh, I think I might go here. Or how did you make the decisions on where you wanted to go?
Yeah, honestly, no plans, which is the best, because when you make plans, it just takes the fun out of it all. I just like to be spontaneous, and, you know, I would just sort of feel things out, because if I liked somewhere, then I would want to stay. I wasn't in no rush. I don't want to collect stamps on my passport like some of these travelers, you know. If I really like the place, I want to stay and I want to connect, then I'll stay. So I just, you know, energetically felt it out. And when it was time to go or I needed a change, I would just look and see what was cheap and what was close, and I would just buy the ticket and show up.
Love it. Did you ever go ahead?
There was times where I, you know, just would book a ticket that day and be in another country and not even have a hotel booked when I landed in the airport.
Oh yeah, that would give so many people heart attacks. I'm totally down for that. So have you always been that way, or is that something as you travel more, you kind of loosened up and learned to just go with the flow?
I sort of always been that way, to be honest. And it's hard for people to travel with me because I'm just very spontaneous. Oh, things will work out. You know, it will align. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And so having this mentality is kind of difficult for some of my close friends. So, yeah.
Do you find you enjoy traveling by yourself more than with others?
I do. Because you're more open and receptive to talking to people, meeting new people, and just being. Whereas if you're with someone, you have someone else's energy, they want to do different things. I like to travel alone and tag along sometimes with other travelers. And yeah.
I love that. And this is what I talk to a lot of my fans about this all the time. Is this me? Oh no, that's you. Hey.
Sorry, just declined it.
It's okay. Because people are always like, oh my God, because I started traveling a lot by myself because nobody wanted to go. And finally I'm like, fuck it, either sit at home and be depressed or go live life. And I learned so much about myself. I ended up having so much fun once I got out of the fear of my head. Like you're saying, like you start to meet new people, and I also learned that like you attract more people wanting to get to know you when you're by yourself versus with a group of people. And like, that's where I think the magic of connection happens. And the more things that you're talking about, like so much of what we see on the news and on the internet of like, oh, well, pit this person against this culture, vice versa. But when you travel, you realize we are all the same. We want the same things. And so much of what you see on the news and social media isn't really what the reality of it is when you get to these places and these people. So many of these places that I've been to, that were labeled dangerous and anti whatever it is had the most open-hearted, giving people I have ever encountered, to the point they gave more than they should because these people had very little, but yet they
True.
wanted to just, that is their nature and their culture. And so for me, I think it's so important to like encourage people to travel, and also travel by themselves, even if it's not out of the country, to like to another part of the state, because that's where healing comes, that's where enlightenment comes. I think that's where a lot of like shifts can happen in this planet, because I think so much of us are so forced information that hasn't been truly experienced, you know? So thank you for doing what you do, because I'm sure, you know, you probably don't hear it all the time, but I'm sure so many of your followers have made decisions they normally wouldn't make, but because of you, like, well, she can do it, I can do it. So, you know, you're breaking barriers, Mama. I love that.
Thank you.
Is there anything you would like to say? I'd like to keep these short, like around 30 minutes, just to
Of course.
wrap up. Like, any words of wisdom that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% about what you just said. Travel is transformation, and you don't really hear those two words together at all, because most people think about travel like, you know, just, oh, I got to get away, and they go and drink and they do all these crazy things, or they party in Vegas, and you know, everyone has their own way of dealing with it, but it is transformation no matter how you look at it. You know, you're faced with these problems, and you're being transformed, you're getting out of your comfort zone. So I would say that, you know, to answer your question, is that, you know, life is a sacred gift. You know, we're only on this planet for a limited time, and we need to enjoy it. And we need to get out of our comfort zones, and we need to experience different cultures, and we need to go far and just connect with the earth and just meet new people and just enjoy this great gift of life. Because in the end, it really is about experiences, not material things.
100%. I love it. And then for those that don't know you or don't follow you, want to shout out your YouTube channel, social media, anything like that?
Yeah. So if you search YouTube, Jessica Savano, Savano, same on Instagram, you'll find me there. And I have lots of new videos coming as soon as I edit them.
And thank you guys. I'll also have links to all her sites down in the description below. Don't forget natalianems.com for my book, audiobook, your Unfucking Yourself program, all the other links to my podcast. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to share and comment anything that you would like to know more about in the future. All right. Thank you guys. Ciao.
Thank you.
Purple bud in my backwoods. If you smoke with me, you'll get high as fuck. Popeyes eating chicken wings with my eyes low. I be fried up. Upgraded, got a